What's good here? It's Wresltemania here. Today we're going to be discussing the recent episode of Monday Night the Raw after WrestleMania 40, man. This was a very great show. I'm going to get straight into it. I do want to apologize for this late review. I was very busy. I had to do something, so unfortunately I couldn't get it out in the time I want to get out, but I'm getting it out now. But we're going to get straight into it. First off, we start off with Triple H. Start the show off with Triple H with his little promo. Talks about how they just pulled off the greatest WrestleMania of all time. He basically appreciating the fans and talk about that we're in a new era. And he ends up saying that he ends up introducing the new guy that's going to lead us to that new era, which is Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes comes out. Him and Triple H show their appreciation. They hug. We get Triple H ends up showing Cody a very good video package of his appreciation for him, showing, the trials and tribulations he went through, showed him winning the Royal Rumble, showed, the things he went through in order to get to winning, the WWE Championship, showed, Roman defeating him at last year's Mania, showed The Rock showed, The Rock beating him with the belt, showing everything he had to go through in order to become WWE Champion with the package finally ending. I think the package ended up ending with him hugging his daughter, if I'm not mistaken. Then, we get Cody Rhodes. Finally gets, after that Triple H and Cody Rhodes hug, and then Triple H gets out the ring, and then we get the Cody Rhodes promo. Cody Rhodes, before he starts, his typical thing, he ends up asking Samantha Irvin to announce him. Samantha announces him as the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion, and then the crowd goes crazy. The crowd was going crazy for Cody. They've been wanting Cody to finish his story for basically 2 years now. They was very electric. Getting "You Deserve It" chants. The Cody chants was very wild. Cody Rhodes ends up, doing his typical stick, saying, "What do you want to talk about?" And he mentions Roman Reigns. It ends up saying that Roman Reigns had one of the greatest title reigns of all time, if not the greatest. The crowd was booing when he started mentioning Roman Reigns, but Cody ends up saying, you don't have to like him, but he acknowledged what he accomplished as champion, and that perhaps that he is the most important superstar of the new generation. And then you got "Thank you, Roman" chants, which I'm so happy that Roman is getting his flowers, because as much as people wanted to hate on Roman, people cannot argue that Roman was the most entertaining thing about WWE for the past 2 to 3 years. Roman does deserve his flowers, and without Roman, we don't get the moment that we have now with Cody. It still feels weird seeing Cody with the championship, because I've been so used to seeing Roman with the belt that it feels weird seeing anyone else but Roman having that title. But I'm very happy for Cody. He's talking about, how, Roman was a champion, and how he ends up mentioning that he was just unfortunately the man that was destined to beat Roman for that championships. Cody ends up showing a little picture of his daughter, talking about why he does this. Why does he wrestle? Why does he want to wrestle? And he shows his daughter, and he is saying that when he leaves for work, he wants his daughter to know that why he's fighting, and that he's not only just fighting just to fight, but he's fighting in the main event, and that he's fighting as the champion. Then then the promo goes a little bit on, and then The Rock appears. The Rock appears. Shocking surprise. No one expects it. I like that they don't announce when The Rock is going to return on Raw. They only do that for SmackDown, which I really do like, because it really gives the surprise factor. I was very shocked. The Rock enters the ring, and then the first thing that comes out the fans' mouth is Undertaker chants, because Undertaker was the one that chokeslammed The Rock. That was hilarious. And then we get Rocky Suck chants after the Undertaker chants. The crowd is constantly booing The Rock in this whole stage. The Rock keeps trying to talk, but he can't speak. Very similar to how Dominic cannot speak. They were just booing him. Every time he puts the microphone to his mouth, he cannot get a word up. Cannot get a word. We even got the STFU chants. I have to abbreviate because I don't feel like, but we got the STFU chants for The Rock. It was amazing. This crowd was electric. Then The Rock ends up responding, said, "The Rock is a lot of things, but suck isn't one of them." Then we got the asshole chants. We got asshole chants. The Rock is constantly getting booed. The Rock can barely get a word in. Then The Rock, then The Rock finally gets a word. He said, The Rock said, then The Rock ended up saying that he came to deliver his flowers to Cody Rhodes. And he also, then he, each time, and as he's talking, the crowd is saying what. So as he's, talking, he's going along with the what chants as he's saying. The Rock says, I came to deliver my flowers to Cody, and also to say Philadelphia broke another record of the longest gathering of trailer park trash in the arena. Rock does his typical Rock thing, and then afterwards, after he says that, the Rock ends up telling the crowd to shut the fuck up. That was amazing. That was amazing. Of course, the crowd goes, haywire, ends up telling him to shut the fuck up, which was hilarious. I really love that. Then after, the crowd is quieting down, The Rock ends up saying that later on, The Rock ends up asking Cody of something. Ends up asking Cody that can he hold Cody's title, which was very shocking. And then the crowd is going crazy. The crowd is like, no, don't do it, don't do it. Cody ends up responding, said, you can hold my title as long as I can hold yours. Very good by Cody. Cody's not trusting The Rock. Thank you for not just giving up your title like any other dumb babyface would. They end up exchanging titles. The Rock holds it. And then The Rock ends up responding to Cody, ends up saying, this feels right. Are they potentially planting seeds? Are they planting seeds of a Cody and Rock match? Which I think at this point you probably have to do, especially what leads on to later what The Rock ends up saying. So I think we're all going to get that Cody versus Rock match eventually. Whether it's at SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal, somewhere down the line, we're probably going to get a Rock versus Cody match. The Rock's then after he says that, they give each other both their titles back. The Rock ends up saying he ends up giving his flowers to Cody, and then he ends up saying that The Rock is going to have to take some time off. Of course he has to leave, but he ends up saying that when he comes back, he's coming back for him, and The Rock ends up saying that your story with Roman Reigns is finished, but your story between me and you have just begun. Then Cody ends up saying that, I forgot exactly what Cody ends up saying, but Cody ends up saying, yeah, I expect that because you are the final boss, right? You're actually my boss, right? You're on the board. The Rock says, yes. And he said, perhaps that's all true, but then he ends up saying that, he said that I am the champion. I am their champion and I am your champion, which I find really good. I really love that he said he was The Rock's champion. The Rock ends up saying, yes, you are. You are my champion. And then The Rock ends up saying, I want to give you something very important. And then The Rock hands him the thing he wants to give him, and The Rock ends up saying that you don't need to open your hand to know what it is. And he said, to never break my heart again. And then we got Cody Rhodes having a very serious face afterwards, and then The Rock leaves. I'm very curious to, what did he give him? What did he give him, and what did he mean by never break his heart again? Very interesting, but it's clear that this is not the last time they're going to see each other. They're definitely going to build up to a match, I'm assuming, and this is just furthering to build up not only Cody's story, but also the Bloodline storyline. Very interested to see what they go from here. Very excited. This was a very good segment. Next up, we got Shinsuke Nakamura doing the open challenge. And then we got a surprise. NXT champion Ilya Dragunov does his debut. This was very shocking. This is amazing. Ilya Dragunov is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Love Ilya Dragunov. Really love this. He debuted on the main roster. Now, it's not official that he's not on the main roster yet, but Michael Cole on commentary did say he will be involved in the draft. And the draft is only 3 weeks away. So it looks like Ilya Dragunov is not going to lose his NXT championship. It looks like that he's going to just get drafted and he's going to have to relinquish it because no one's going to beat him in 3 weeks. That's just, so it looks like Ilya Dragunov is going to relinquish the championship, and then I have a feeling we already know who's going to win that championship for the after Ilya loses it, which is going to be Trick Williams, and Ilya is going to be officially on the main roster. Now, this was a great match. This was a really great match, really fun match. Ilya got the win. needed to get the win, showing NXT, showing who's next up. This was a very good win. Unfortunately for Shinsuke, he had to lose, but you have to build up the new talent that's coming up. Next up, we get the Judgment Day, the promo. This promo, started off with Finn Balor, Dominic, and JD. They kind of prolonged this promo because they end up doing this thing where they introduce each champion one by one, and they did it to where they end up introducing Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley cut like a smaller promo, and then they introduced Damian Priest. Then Damian Priest talks about how he's the World Heavyweight Champion, how they all, then he does his typical thing, all rise for the Judgment Day. And then R-Truth comes out of nowhere from behind. This is hilarious. And holds his tag team titles with the Judgment Day. They all realize R-Truth is behind him. Damian is flipping out. He's like, no, we're not doing this again. No, this is ridiculous. R-Truth is then responding saying that I just wanted to celebrate with y'all. And he ends up saying that he said I brought back the tag team titles to the Judgment Day, which is hilarious that he still thinks he's in the Judgment Day. He still thinks he's in the Judgment Day. He still thinks he's a member. Then R-Truth starts alluding to adding a new member to the Judgment Day. That's when the Miz music hits. The Miz comes out. The Miz ends up responding saying that I don't want to be in the Judgment Day. And he said, I know you don't want to be in the Judgment Day either. Balor ends up... Oh, yeah. The Miz ends up saying that how they're the new, Raw Tag Team Champions. Ends up basically rubbing it in the Judgment Day face that they don't have their tag titles no more. Balor ends up saying that you think you're funny. And ends up saying that Awesome Truth is going to be the shortest tag team reign of all time. Then we get Truth ends up saying that. Then Balor ends up saying that how about that you put your tag team championships on the line. Truth ends up saying that we can't do that because there's 3 of us. Everyone's confused. They're like, 3 of us. The Miz ends up responding. He said 3 of us. With like a real person. Because we already knew he was alluding to Little Jimmy. Truth ends up saying, yeah. It ends up saying that we're going to have a 6-man tag match between Finn Balor, Dominic, JD McDonough, between him and The Miz, and the guy that we cannot see, which is hilarious. JD McDonough ends up agreeing to the match. The Miz is like, bro, we cannot have a match with a guy that we can't see. The Judgment Day ends up attacking Awesome Truth. They end up attacking Awesome Truth. Awesome Truth can't get the upper hand because they're clearly outnumbered, and Judgment Day ends up standing tall. We get a quick. It looks like, of course, Awesome Truth is going to continue to feud with the Judgment Day, and I don't see the Judgment Day winning because Damian Priest and Finn Balor aren't the ones that's going to fight them for. It's going to be Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. But we're going to get to the next segment. We got a quick segment between Rhea Ripley and Dominic. They end up talking about the Andrade situation, how Andrade ends up betraying Dominic, and Rhea Ripley basically told Dominic that you need to handle it. Dominic says he's going to handle it, so it looks like Dominic is going to be feuding with Andrade. Then we get Liv Morgan attacks Rhea Ripley with I don't know what she threw. She threw some type of item at her head. It was a chair or something. Beating her up, constantly beating her up. The security had to break them apart. So it looks like Liv Morgan is going to be the next person Rhea Ripley is going to face, and they're going to build up that story. Very interested to see what they do with her. Next up, we got Indy Hartwell doing an open challenge of some sort, because this was another surprise from NXT. Roxanne Perez, the NXT Women's Champion. This was great. This was really great. They're showing, basically the next generation of women. I don't know if she's going to be in a draft. They didn't say. It would be shocking that she's in a draft, even though she just won the title. So I don't think so. But this was a great showing of Roxanne. Roxanne ends up picking up the victory after Indy Hartwell ends up getting a distraction from Candice LeRae, because they're still building up the Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell story. Candice LeRae ends up helping Indy Hartwell by tripping Roxanne Perez. Indy didn't like that. She gets distracted, telling Candice to not do that. Roxanne get the upper hand, hits her finisher, 1, 2, 3. Then Roxanne picks up the victory. And then after the match, Candice LeRae is basically disappointing Indy. Basically telling her that I told you we need to do these do things my way, the heel way. And Indy Hartwell looks like she's not on board. Next up, got Sami Zayn, the new Intercontinental Championship. He comes out to the ring. The fans The fans was electric for him. This reminded me of back when he was in the Bloodline. Back when he was in the Bloodline last year, the crowd reaction he got was was very good. Sammy talks about him being historic. Talked about how in back to back manias he did something historic. You know, with him breaking the Usos' legendary title run and him breaking Gunther's title run. Then he gives his flowers to Gunther, saying that the one who was really historic was Gunther, him being the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, and said that he is the greatest Intercontinental Champion. But I'm the one who defeated him. Sammy is giving his appreciation, talks about the people who helped him on his journey, talked about the fans. He couldn't do this without the fans. He couldn't do this without his wife, his daughter. That helped him through the match. Talked about how Kevin Owens being there before the match helped him. Then we get Imperium, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci come out. Ludwig says that Gunther made the title prestigious. He said Gunther put his blood, sweat, and tears. He worked so hard to make the title prestigious. And it makes him sick that someone like Sami Zayn is holding that title. Ludwig says Sami Zayn looks like the peasants that are in the Philadelphia crowd. And then he ends up saying, "Congratulations, your champion looks like a bum." Then they are there, and Ludwig ends up saying that they are there to make it right. They surround the ring. It looks like they're about to jump him. I thought Jey Uso was about to come out, but Chad Gable ends up coming out. The Imperium ends up evacuating. They end up backing off, but then ends up skipping that. Then it ends up going next into a tag team match between Imperium and Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. This was a really fun, good match. Very interesting spots. They was really doing the whole Sami Zayn, Chad Gable friendship. Sami Zayn, Chad Gable ends up picking up the victory with Sami Zayn ends up doing a haluva kick, and then Sami Zayn was about to do a haluva kick, but then before that, he ends up tagging Chad Gable in, does the haluva kick, and then Chad Gable ends up picking up the victory, ends up doing his finisher where he does like a roll up into a suplex, and then Chad Gable ends up picking up the victory. We get a small segment after the match between Nick Aldis, Abel Rain, Adam Pearce, and Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green comes to Adam Pearce doing her typical Karen thing, complaining about her not being on the WrestleMania card, talking about how can it be the greatest WrestleMania without Chelsea. Adam Pearce has enough, and then he ends up saying that Nick Aldis has a surprise for her, and Chelsea Green ends up saying that how she wants her moment. Nick Aldis says she has a surprise for her and that she won't be disappointed, and her challenge awaits her. And that ends up being a surprise because then we ends up leading into the Chelsea Green match with the surprise being Jade Cargill. Now, this was a great surprise. Great surprise. We already knew this was going to be a swash match. This was just a little fun moment. You know, Chelsea Green being the Karen heel, finally getting her comeuppance and her, basically getting whooped, as she deserves. I love Chelsea Green's character, though. She is amazing. But this was a quick swash match. Nothing more, nothing less. Then we get a backstage segment between Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. Sami Zayn basically talk about that I appreciate you being out there, appreciate you helping me, appreciate you coming out, to help him with Imperium. And then Sami Zayn alludes to saying that I guess that makes us even, right? Chad Gable was confused, like, what? Sami Zayn ends up saying that I gave you the win. I could have easily took the pin, but I gave you the pin, so we're even. Then Chad Gable was like, whoa, wait. When I said you owed me a favor, Sami Zayn was joking because I thought Sami was serious for a moment, but Sami Zayn was basically trolling Chad Gable. Ends up saying, I know what you meant. I know what you want. Holds the Intercontinental Championship. And then he ends up saying that you are worthy of facing me. You're the one who deserves it out of everyone. And ends up saying that I'm going to give you the opportunity to face me next week in his home country in Montreal. And Chad Gable accepts. So next week we're getting a Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable match. Chad Gable is losing that match. There's no way Sami is losing in his hometown. He's just not. It's going to be a banger match, but Sami's not losing that title in his home. He's just not. And plus, I don't know when the last time a champion lost on a regular show that wasn't a PLE. So, this is going to be a good match. But maybe they do a heel turn, which I still don't think is smart. A lot of people want Chad Gable to turn heel for some weird reason. It just doesn't make sense for him to do that. But Chad Gable is going to lose the match. But it's going to be a great match. Next up, we get Drew McIntyre comes out. And he's supposed to be having his number one contender number one contenders match. But before the match even starts, Drew McIntyre immediately gets the microphone, ends up saying, "Cut the music, cuts the music," and he's furious. He's furious. He's furious because he don't have the World Heavyweight Championship, and Damian Priest cashing in on. He's furious, and he ends up saying that 5 minutes and 46 seconds is how long my moment lasted. How long he had the World Heavyweight Championship. And then he ends up saying that you guys think it's funny. The crowd is basically saying that you basically deserve what happened to you. He said, "Do you guys think that's funny?" And he said that is. And then Drew McIntyre ends up saying that is 5 more minutes than most of you last in bed. I love that. That was a very good comeback. Drew ended up calling. He ends up talking about how he said the Money in the Bank is outdated. It's a joke. It diminishes what Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins done with what they done, the hard work they put into the championship. And Drew McIntyre ends up calling him Bondage Undertaker, which is crazy. He ends up calling him Bondage Undertaker and ends up saying that I am going to whoop your ass. But he said, I would say I will whoop your ass, but you probably would like that. That is crazy because on the internet, Damian Priest gets called bisexual Undertaker. So the fact that he called them Bondage Undertaker is hilarious. Drew ends up coming. Drew continues to talk, ends up saying that I don't even blame. He says, I don't blame Damian Priest. I blame CM Punk. He ends up mentioning how that he told CM Punk what he was going to do. And he told him that I was going to rub it in your face. I was going to have my moment and I was going to come up to you. And then he ends up calling him a coward, ends up saying that I was in your face. You didn't do anything. But the moment I turn around, you want to sneak attack me and then attack me to allow Damian Priest to cash in. Then we finally get Jey Uso to come out to end the promo segment. And then we get the fatal four-way between Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, Ricochet, and Bronson Reed for being the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. This was a fun match. We had some good spots. The match starts off instantly with Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre going straight at it. Had some good spots. We had a cool spot with Bronson Reed getting Jey Uso through a table with a body slam. Got another cool spot where Ricochet did a 450 splash onto the table, onto the announcer table. Bronson Reed ends up clearing the announcer table. I think Drew McIntyre ends up doing something to him. And Bronson Reed was laid out on the table. Ricochet ends up doing a 450 springboard dive onto the announcer table. That was onto Bronson Reed. That was a crazy spot. Then we get a very cool sequence where it was Jey Uso, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Jey Uso does a super kick towards Drew McIntyre. Ricochet comes in, does a super kick to Drew McIntyre. Then they both do a super kick at the same time, getting Drew McIntyre out the ring. Then we also get another sequence where Bronson Reed comes in, Jey Uso, super kick Bronson Reed. Ricochet, super kick Bronson Reed. Then they both super kick Bronson Reed, take each other out. Then Jey Uso ends up taking out Ricochet. Then I think the springboard dive I mentioned happened after that sequence, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that ended up happening after that. So Ricochet and Bronson Reed are, of course, both, out. Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre are both in the ring. They both going back and forth. Jey Uso super kicks. Drew McIntyre ends up doing a headbutt. Then Drew McIntyre ends up getting upper hand, does a DET. Drew McIntyre is trying to end it, trying to, get his championship back. Try to go for a Claymore, and he can't move. He's going for the Claymore, and then it reveals that CM Punk is holding him down. He can't do the Claymore. CM Punk finally lets go of his leg. And then Jey Uso ends up hitting Drew McIntyre with the spear, and then ends up doing the Uso splash for the 1, 2, 3. And Jey Uso is your number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk ends up costing Drew McIntyre his opportunity to get his championship back. And that was your Monday Night Raw. That was a great episode. Very great. Better than last year's Wresltemania. This episode is really great. It progressed storylines. It shows what's in the future. And we have the draft coming in 3 weeks. What do you guys think is going to happen in the draft? I'm very excited for that. Very excited for NXT call-ups. And what do you guys think? I want to know what you guys thought of this episode of Monday Night Raw. This was a great episode. Very great start to the new era of WWE. And I'm very excited. But leave your thoughts, opinions. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, that's it.